some of the best writing advice I've gotten, and it's pretty much universal. The number one thing to being a good writer is you need to, well, number one, you need to sit down and write. Thinking about being a good writer does no one any good whatsoever. You need to actually put your ass in the chair and write. And the only way you're going to become a good writer is by writing. It's just like any other trade. That's all there is to it. You have to do it to improve upon it. No one comes out of the gate with quality. No one. I don't care. All those overnight successes and someone with their first book and everything, oh wow, they're just amazing. They're new on the scene. They've done that. No, they've been writing for a while. You may hear of one or two people out there that, this is my first novel and boom, hit it out of the park. Are they able to maintain that? Maybe not. And maybe their only novel, and that's why they hit it out of the park. They put everything in it and now they're done. But the reality is practice, just like anything else. So you have to sit your butt down and you have to write. You also need to write what you want to write. That makes a huge difference. A lot of people try and hop into this thinking they have to write what's hot, what's now. I'll never get published if I don't write this trend. That trend's going to be over by the time you're done writing that book and get an agent and submit to publishers and all of that. So don't bother writing to the trend. Write to what you want to write. That's how you're going to keep your interest up. That's how you're going to keep the energy up. That's how you're going to make that book interesting. Because if it's interesting to you, it's going to be interesting to somebody else. That's just how it is. That's how I tend to write most of my books. I come up with an idea going, I want to know what that story is. So I just happen to be the guy who writes it. But I don't write things that I'm not interested in. And if I do, they tend to flop and be duds, right there. The other thing is you need to write, I don't want to say realistically because I'm a genre writer, so nothing I write is realistic. But you have to write characters that resonate with your readers. They can't be flat. They can't be stereotypes. They can't be, these one-dimensional cutouts and things. Give them something. Give them a quirk. Give them a gimmick, for want of a better word. Give them something. Take from your life. The old adage, write what you know. Well, you can't really write what you know if you're writing space opera with a giant galactic fleet in a galaxy that isn't even this galaxy. No one knows that. But you can make those characters someone out of your life. It's a lot easier, especially if you're just starting out and you're flexing that invention muscle that's in your brain there. Steal from your life, steal your mother-in-law, steal your cousin, steal your neighbor across the street, and then figure out how you can take that personality and put it into the setting you want to put. It's going to make them much more realistic. It's going to flesh out that character instantly because you have an example to work off of. So, the adage, write what you know, isn't about writing your memoirs and writing your life. It's about taking things from life and putting them in the book to give it more depth and more, realism, even if it is an unrealistic setting. The other thing is you just have to understand that writing is peaks and valleys. And that goes to every single aspect. That's your enthusiasm for the work. There are going to be days you love it and days you hate it. And that's just how it goes. There are, you're going to have great successes and you're going to have massive failures. You have to kind of get used to that. Even as you're writing, as the actual physical act of writing that paragraph, you're going to have an amazing sentence in that paragraph, and then you're going to have a dud of a sentence in that paragraph, and you have to move on from the duds. You have to move, keep walking, and you're going to get out of the valley and hit the peak again. The other thing is, with that in mind, you can always fix it. You can always fix it. I think too many writers start off thinking everything has to be perfect, and when it isn't perfect, they go back and rewrite, they go back and edit, they're editing as they're writing, they're never finishing. Finish. Even if it sucks, even if it's the worst piece of crap in the world, finish it, because the accomplishment of actually finishing something is a massive boost, emotionally, psychologically. You'll finish that and go, I did the thing. I finished it. I got it done. It's crap, but it's done crap. The crap is done. It's not even half-formed crap. It's fully formed crap. This is amazing. And you can always go back and fix that, but you have to finish it. That's all there is to it. And even with that, you also, once it's finished and you've gone back and you've written and you've revised, you have to understand there are going to be people who still don't like it. They're just not going to like it. Even if it's the greatest in the world, they're not going to like it. You are not going to please everyone. So keep that in mind. Also, as you're writing, you're not going to please everyone. Don't try to please everyone while you're telling that story, while you're in the middle of writing. Please you. Keep yourself interested. It goes back to that. You got to keep yourself interested. This has to be something you're writing that you're interested in. Keep that, keep that up, keep that going. And hopefully you will find the similar audience that is you out there that wants to read what you're interested in. But don't try and write to everybody, because it'll end up flat. It'll end up boring, and it won't be the book that you're wanting to write. So that's a huge thing there. The other thing to keep in mind is your process is your process. Someone else's process is their process. While you're writing, do not compare yourself to others, because they can't compare to you. No one can be you, just like you can't be anyone else. You can't be James Patterson. You can't be Stephen King. You can't be Tana French. You can't be anyone out there. You're not going to be the next Hemingway, because there's only one Hemingway. That's all there is to it. You're going to be the next, insert your name. That's what you're going to be. Be that person. Don't compare yourself to anybody else, because no one's process is exactly the same. There is no way to say, this is how you write. This is how a book gets done. This is how quality happens. You can only be you and just keep going. And that comes down to the very last thing I think is the most important part of being a writer and being a professional writer, is the only way you lose is if you quit. That's it. That's the only way you lose. Rejection is not losing. Rejection is life. We all go through life being rejected constantly for all kinds of things. That light turning red after having been green for a long time just rejected me. Dang it. There's rejection everywhere. You get used to it. That's not losing. Quitting is the only way you lose in this business. It's the only way you fail. So no matter how hard it gets, no matter how much things seem to just be weighing down on you, take a break if you need to, but a break is a break. That means you're coming back to something. You're coming back to it. You aren't quitting. Don't quit. Keep going. Keep pushing through. Eventually you'll get to that point you want to get to, because there's no one stopping you but you. And that's all there is to it. That's it.